Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89, Megxit. I had to talk about Megxit. Initially, I didn't really care because I was sort of busy yesterday and some news dropped about some things. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And at first, I actually didn't think it was real. I thought it was just a rumor or something. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're stepping down from being a royal. How do you step down from being a royal? What are the levels of royalness, or how do you do that? Um, and then I saw that Madame Tussauds had already removed their wax figures from the royal family exhibit. And I'm like, wow, that's quick and final. And I thought, wow, this is really happening. This is real. And a lot of the royal people are freaking out. And I'm like, okay. What I don't understand is people being surprised. Um, and I don't want to sound like I'm supporting this or saying this, but I think it's just something that is known, but I personally don't believe, and I think a lot of people don't believe, that Harry is even Prince Charles's son. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's just gossip, that's rumor, but I'm sure he's the result of an affair, and technically that makes him a bastard, and technically that makes him not a royal, and I'm guessing he can't take the throne. So, like Whoopi Goldberg said, you can't be king, what are we hanging for? I understand why they left. I don't blame them. The racism and the criticism that Meghan Markle got when she was in Britain, I mean, I think she was naive because we all know what that is. We all saw what happened to Diana. She got just harassed to death by the media, and we all know that. But yet she sort of went and thought she could work it, and then went, shit, this is too hard, I'm leaving. I do think there's some judgment there, which is kind of justified, because you kind of you walked into a situation you should have been able to fully understand and predict, and then basically backed out of it. So there's some criticism there, but I don't blame them, because basically, as far as the royals and the British media are concerned, he's a red-headed bastard, and she's an interracial, like, American wife, basically. That, like, they were never going to be accepted, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be, and they're not acceptable because of those circumstances, but I think that's how they were viewed by the British family and by the media. That he like, if Prince Charles and oh my god, I still can't remember the other prince's name. What is it? Harry and oh my god, how can I forget his name? I'm really bad with names. Like, I just did a video about Lizzo, and I forgot Adele's name, because Adele lost weight and got criticism, and people were saying, oh great, you lost weight, and then they were saying, no, you were a representative for big women, how dare you, and you can't win. And I forgot Adele's name, so I guess I'll remember his name in the next video, so I'm sorry. There's only two princes, you know what I'm talking about. Now, if something happens to Charles and him, Harry's third in line, but I don't think he'd get past the DNA test, and I think there would be a DNA test asked for. So I think Whoopi was right, basically saying that you know, he's never going to be the king. Why stay and live in that life of all that restriction, all that bullshit, all that constant criticism, when you can just go to go to Canada and chill? So that's what they're doing. I'm all for Megxit. I support it. I'm glad they should get the fuck out of there. I'm just kind of annoyed that Meghan got in there in the first place, because unless she always planned to just kidnap Harry, which is what she's done apparently, I don't know. The British are so nasty. The British media is so nasty. But I don't understand getting involved with all that if you're not willing to stick it out. You're not strong enough to stick it out. So I don't know. It's hard. She's a new mum, and she's got a lot of family drama, and just the perception of that. Like, I was kind of shocked. I missed the wedding. I'm like, oh, there was a royal wedding. I don't care about the royals at all. I barely cared about Diana. I've got a Franklin Mint doll of her, and I did like her, and I thought she was amazing and beautiful, and I understood that she supported gay people and AIDS and a lot of things that other people wouldn't touch. She was different. I appreciated her for that. But since she passed, I haven't really cared about the royals, although I did go out of my way to see the Queen when she was in Australia, because my mum saw the Queen. It meant a lot to her, and I wanted to see her as well. I wanted to be the other person in the family that saw the Queen, and I did briefly see her. I saw her get on a tram and she was looking out the window as she pulled out, and I just for a moment just caught sight of her for a second. I didn't get a photo though, unfortunately, but I did see the Queen. I went to great effort because she's the Queen. She's Queenie. I call her Queenie. I don't know why I care about her. It's just I grew up with her. My mum sort of liked her. I think my mum, her dad died when she was young, and she had to take on a lot of responsibility, and I think the same thing happened to the Queen. I think she related to her a little bit. There's not a huge age gap. She kind of followed, I think, her story, and that sort of drew me into the Queen a bit and the royals, but that's as far as it went. And I'm kind of off track now, but I don't blame them. I understand why they left. I don't quite understand why the Brits are so brutal. I mean, I get that for the most part they're racist and they hate Americans, and she's biracial and American, and like a lot of, you know, Harry's, people sort of consider that he's not actually a royal, so he sort of has that issue, and I don't know how far into the family that goes. I don't know if he is treated any differently because of this sort of idea. A lot of these things happen in families, and it gets sort of covered up, or or it's something that sort of people get stuck with. And a lot of people are saying it doesn't exist, and it's just gossip and, you know, the media and tabloid stuff, and I'm just, you know, exploiting that or whatever. But I believe he was the result of the affair. And until I see DNA to prove otherwise, that's what I'm going to believe. I might be wrong. But either way, I'm not the only person thinking it, so it sort of undermines him. But yeah, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. I don't know. What do they do now? How do they manage things? Like, I saw some interviews with people, and it's like, how do they manage security? He's still the third in line, technically. He's still a royal. You know, they've said that they're going to do it independently, so they're going to pay for their own security for the next, like, 70 years. I mean, when Edward and Wallace, when he abdicated and they ran away and hid in France for, like, 30 years or something, it wasn't a picnic. This is not exactly the same circumstance, but it's interesting. I'm wondering if it's going to calm down. Like, people like Piers Morgan are going on, but he has to go on about something, because otherwise, who would care? If he's not talking about Madonna or Meghan Markle or someone, who would care what he has to say? He's nothing without a more important person to criticise. So I think that bandwagon's going to get, you know, ridden for quite a while, but eventually I guess people will accept it. They'll calm down. They will go have their family. They will. But the only thing I was really bothered by, and a lot of people were bothered by, was apparently the Queen asked him not to announce it like he did, and that they did announce it without telling the Queen. The Queen didn't have a warning. It just was announced, and she felt betrayed. And a lot of people are angry that they did it and that they announced it and did it the way they did it. And I'm not sure if that's right. I'm not sure if there's any right way to leave a family or leave an institution. But maybe they just had to put themselves first and just do it. Maybe there was some toxicity. Maybe they really were struggling and they just had to get out of that situation. And they're a young family, so maybe that is just, as long as it works, as long as they're happy, as long as, you know, Chuckles gets to go on and be the king, or the other one, still can't remember his name. I feel really bad. How can I not remember his name? God, that's annoying me. I gotta go. Talk long enough, but yeah. Wow. It's kind of, there's a lot of things happening at the moment, a lot of shocking things, you know, and Megxit's just one of them, and it's very interesting. But feel free to like, share, comment, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me I'm an idiot. Just don't bother telling me to fix my teeth, because I couldn't give a fuck. Thanks, bye.